So much of what you see was created in Paris.
That's interesting.
Not everything. Some of them were in the East Village. Like this room is called The Dark Side of Humanity. And this is a painting from 1980 from the East Village.
But why did you decide to live for a while in Paris?
Well, I was in Cologne and I had an exhibition with a group show. And then I said, I stayed at a hotel and I started making drawings. And to tell you the truth, I had this dream about Paris, not a real dream, but from reading Proust and from reading Sartre and reading Céline. And
the fantasy of Paris.
And the fantasy of Paris from Proust and from this, and looking at Impressionism, which is sort of my favorite, Monet and Renoir, and seeing Picasso at l'Orangerie and Jeu de Paume when it used to be with a Soutine room and everything. So
yes.
I just said I love it here. And I didn't speak any French, so I didn't understand what people were talking about around me. So it was perfect, I could concentrate on my work.
So this is a retrospective?
Yes, this is a retrospective of, work beginning in 1962 when I was 4 years old to the present.
Okay.
So it's really all the selection was gathered from institutions and from, for example, this painting the Museum of Modern Art lent us. And this one was lent by the Mental States was lent by the Louisiana.
Okay.
And
so this is a chronological hanging.
Yeah, and they're thematic. The rooms are thematic. And instead of doing a retrospective in a sort of conventional way, where you just start from chronology, I don't believe in chronology in art.
Really?
No, because I think that as a painter, I believe that paintings from 40,000 years ago in caves look just as contemporary today as they did then.
But do you think
there is a chronology in reality?
Do you think that you have the same obsession as in the 70s, for example?
Yeah, I think that I never got any better. That's what the one interesting thing about this show for me. That since my first drawings in the 70s, which you will see in the other room, until now, I don't know if I ever became a better artist than I was when I was 5 years old.
But you think you are the same?
I think I'm the same.
In your brain, in your head?
In my brain, it's because the world changes around us.
Yes.
And you have to have I have a lot of empathy for the socio-political and geopolitical situations that we live in during these different periods of time. So in the 70s, we had the Vietnam, the American War, or the Vietnam War. In the 80s, we had Reagan, and then suddenly we had, what's his name, George Bush. And actually, it was funny. I was living in Paris, and for the first time in my life, I didn't even know who the president of America was. So I asked a taxi driver. I said, "C'est qui le président d'Amérique, whatever, USA?" He said, "George Bush." I said, "He won? Oh, okay."
Wow.
I didn't know for 3 days.
But is your painting speaking about the world?
Yeah, they're speaking a lot about the sort of the struggle in the world. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them speak about sort of a more dreamlike state of like what I wish, where I wish I could be, where I wish the world was at. But a lot of them speak about the anger and the confusion and conflict.
But when you want to speak, shall we go? When we want to speak about the world, shall we make portraits?
Well, this one's called Memories of Rembrandt. And I was just using the palette of Rembrandt.
Yes.
And putting my own figures into his style of painting his self-portraits.
There's many eyes in it, right?
Yeah, a lot of eyes.
But so why to use the mean of portrait to speak about the world?
Well, this one, for example, Mental States, it's very much like it's very much of a kind of I would say it's a struggle.
But it's a nightmare, no?
Yeah, it's a real struggle of people trying to be able, to be recognized, to be, it's complicated in the world when you have people that are screaming for help. And so they're all sort of somehow angry figures in the center, and people everywhere all around the painting just
Wow, but this is quite recent, 2000, right?
Yeah, so this was during the time...
so there's no gap between 2000 and the 70s, or...
And this one is just about painting two figures next to each other and having a compositional idea.
When was it done?
Not so long ago. This is not so long ago. This is more recent. This is 2018.
So there's no period, no evolution in your painting?
I don't think so. I think they're just different paintings. There we're coming into a room of the earlier works, the first works that I did, like 1984 and 1982. And then I returned back to this style of these sort of paintings that look like they could have been painted 400 years ago, but they couldn't because they had my name on it. and then I came back to it in the 90s, in 1993, I think, to this working with, I love blue skies and clouds, I realized. I love trees, I like blue skies and clouds, and I thought, you have to paint what you love.
And you are a classical painter, so...
Yeah, but you paint what you love. If you love Rembrandt, you paint something about an artist you love. If you love Matisse, you paint something that feels like Matisse.
Did you love Matisse?
I do. Yeah.
So where is Matisse in your work?
I don't know. I think maybe not in this room.
No, this is very Magritte in a way, Période Vache.
This is more Magritte and more sort of surrealistic and more sort of Renaissance and more to do with the sort of classical painting, but without the subject matter of classical painting. It's not religious subject matter, but it's painted in the manner of old masters.
But it's a marriage of classical and contemporary grotesque obsession. Is there something grotesque in your work? No?
I mean, it's the viewer who decides, if this is grotesque. I don't know.
No, this could be, no?
I don't know. I feel like it was kind of related to Petrus Christus or somebody like that, I was thinking it's something to do with this period of painting.
But most of the faces you are representing are faces which are not conventional.
No, they're more of a view of the internal state of mind of the subject, and that you see that internal state of mind on the exterior. So people have a lot of conflict in their mind. You might have 10, 20, 30, 40 different thoughts at the same time.
But it's you also.
No, but I think
in the face.
Almost everybody. If you look at a person on the street and just look at a normal person on the street, you don't know if they're in one side of their brain, they're thinking about a funeral that they just came from, and then the other side of their brain, they're thinking about a wedding that they have to go to. And so you can't see it on the outside, but you can somehow radio in to the interior of the mind. So it's really about the idea of the internal representation on the external of the figure. So a lot of grotesqueness comes from the idea of the world can be very grotesque at certain moments. And
but do you accept the word grotesque?
I don't mind it, I mean, sometimes the people call that grotesque, but I call the world and the condition, the human condition, grotesque. I call the military in Chicago grotesque, I call these kind of things grotesque. I find the decision-making of politicians grotesque.
But there's also a tradition in old masters of troni,
yes.
The ugly faces.
Well, if you think about Leonardo, he made some really incredible drawings of laughing farmers and some of his drawings are really grotesque, about the grotesque, and some of them are animalistic. And to a certain degree, I like to watch videos of animals fighting. And I like to look at the expressions on the faces of the animals, like when a lion catches a hyena. I like the expression of their face is the kind of expression I like to catch on the American, sort of the human.
But this is you?
I like the animalistic quality of humanity.
Wow. This is you? It looks like Leonard Fini.
It's like Beethoven sometimes.
Pardon?
It's called the psychoanalytical puppeteer losing his mind. And so he's got his strings and his little, his figure has broken from his strings, but he also has strings that he has broken from.
But so how do you start? How do you start one of these phases? How does it work? For example, this one there.
Well, I don't know. I just start from wherever the best place to start is,
Which is what? Do you make drawings or?
Well, this one is called The Trapped Hunter.
Yes.
It's about a hunter, and this is again the animal faces. You see in this one, you don't see them right away, but once you get up close, you see the fox. Oh, you see here.
Ah.
You start to see the animals, and that's why I call it The Trapped Hunter. And here, with the nude, is just a cover of a tomato can.
So
it looked good. It looked good.
But
It's
so
like 2 eyes.
your studio is in New York.
Yeah.
So you wake up, you have a coffee.
I wake up, I have a coffee, I say hello to my kitty, my cat. I love my cat. We hang around together.
What's the name of the cat?
Fluffy.
I thought it was Leonardo.
No, she's a big fluff ball, and but she's very sweet, and so she keeps me company. And then I go upstairs and I make pastels lately. I've been
pastels?
working on pastels, and so I go upstairs and I draw after a few coffees, and usually I need 4 coffees, and then I don't have breakfast, and then I go upstairs and I make art. My Elizabeth or Camille, like people who work with me, come and they field all the emails and all the different things that are happening.
But you do your painting by yourself.
I don't have any assistants ever touch my work.
Okay.
I feel like, in today's world with the advent of Damien and Jeff Koons and all these artists who have an army of assistants, I keep thinking to myself, would you ever want to own a painting by Giacometti and assistant, or a painting like Picasso and assistant?
No, but
a painting of Matisse and assistant.
Rembrandt and assistant. He had a lot of assistants. Rubens even more.
A complete studio full of assistants.
Yes.
And generally speaking, these artists, like Rubens, would just do the head, the portrait, and then they would do the body and the clothing and all that. And he did obviously a lot.
And he did a lot with very good painting and very bad painting.
Yeah, I mean, there was many artists in the Renaissance that required assistance, and
it was a business.
Yeah.
And is it a business for you?
No, it's not, because
you are very successful.
No, because I do my own work, so it's not really a business. It's just it's a challenge to push myself further along and to push myself. And then later, if I have an exhibition, I'd select a body of work that would be good and has some coherent.
And here you have selected all the work?
Do I have them?
No, did you select or?
Oh, the collectors, when I.
No, did you select the work for this exhibition?
With the curator.
Okay.
With the curator, we worked very close.
And do you destroy some work when you think they are weak? Or do you transform them?
They never really come out bad, There's always something to learn from when you go off in the wrong direction in the painting. Suddenly you realize the painting doesn't want to go left, it wants to go right. So you follow the painting to the direction. But sometimes you, for example, have a canvas that's primed with oil. And if you put acrylic on it, it bubbles up and you realize, I can't paint on this canvas.
Okay.
It's just the material, the chemistry. it's all about, painting is all about chemistry as well. And if you don't mix your chemicals properly, you can have cracks, you can have all kinds of things. Like a lot of the art that you see from, here in the 1990s and in the 80s, there's no cracks. And I had a big argument with Françoise Judith once.
Ah.
Yeah, she said to me, this painting is going to crack. And I said, why? She said, because you mixed your paint, you mixed your colors with varnish. I said, no, I don't think so. And she said, my husband, Pablo, his paintings are really cracked because he doesn't pay attention to what he was mixing, how he mixed his chemicals. And I said, they look great. Some of them are old from 1910. There's going to be cracks. And then when I really look at Picasso, I think there's not so many with cracks, Only really.
But Picasso was doing good painting and bad paintings too.
He knew how to mix his paint, And I think for somebody to say this is a bad painting, I think the worst painting by Picasso is probably better than 99% of the painter's works,
True.
Yeah. If I tried to say that's a bad Picasso, I can only say it's probably better than a 99%.
And these ones seem really inspired by Picasso.
Some of them, these ones are specifically Memories of Picasso, it's called. It was done in my apartment on Boulevard de la Tourmobile in 1988. And this one is the same. So we put these, kind of figures with the big Spanish hats. But he would never have collaged all of these. This was kind of these were drawings I made at the Hotel Loti. And I brought them to my apartment, and I put them all around the painting. But this one...
It's a real tribute, no?
Here's where I signed it, but this is more inspired by Boucher. They're funny, and these are the kind of... This is like a Meninas.
Yes, Velázquez.
And then this is something Matisse-like feeling, this one above it.
And so you keep on being inspired by old masters and modern?
Honestly, like I said, I try to include every artist's work in my work. And I think all the great artists, they included the works that came before them in their work. And that they just brought it to another level. You can't say it's better. You can just say you brought it to the next place.
So after so many years of career, what do you want now?
What do I want to do now?
Yeah. Or what do you dream about?
Maybe get a job.
A serious job?
Yeah, a serious job.
At Wall Street or what?
Yeah, working at one of those hardware stores, cash register. I can collect all the money, you make the same amount of money, but then you have to give it to the...
No, but it seems that you have a good life. If you wake up, have 4 coffees, look at your cat, and begin working, it's great,
so bad,
no?
But then there's a lot of stuff. What it is the art world itself gets in the middle of your work, your life, and you can't see your children, you can't hang out with anybody because they always want something, and I'm really sort of gotten sick of it.
What do they want? I'm afraid to ask questions now.
The painting you did yesterday. They want the painting you did
Pressure.
in the summer. When I go away in the summer to my country house there, I can paint very freely, and then all of a sudden they come, all of them in August. So I'm gone in June, July, and then when they come, they want to see what did you do.
Where is your countryside house?
It's in East Hampton.
Okay. But you are in the middle of everything. Don't be surprised.
No, but they only come in August.
Okay.
So if you go now, in October, November, December, January...
it's very quiet.
Nobody's there.
Yeah, true.
There's no leaves on the trees, but it's still nice.
Pollock was not far.
It's quiet, though.
Pollock was not far.
Yeah, Pollock was there, not far. De Kooning lived there.
Very cool. Solly-Witt,
no? A
no?
lot of the artists used to live there, but now it's really just
social,
super rich people. I went there maybe 20 years ago, and there was more sort of artists living around, but they all moved to the other side of the Hamptons, and so I'm one of the only ones left living there. But I started there in this house like 15, 20 years ago.
Yes.
Renting.
So in fact, you could you could, it would be, your dream would be to keep on painting without the art world?
Yes. Just to paint, draw, make sculptures, not have to show them to anybody until I'm ready. Maybe after 1 year of work, I accumulate a number of drawings, a number of paintings, a number of sculptures, and then I think, okay, if one of the two galleries that I work with, Monica Spruth, I've worked with Monica since 1983.
Okay.
And Hauser and Barrett is like, in America, it's difficult. They change galleries every so often. And so they always call saying, we have a collector who saw a painting that you posted on Instagram. We saw a painting, is it for sale? And I said, I'm posting things that I don't even own. Actually, last night we met a photographer, and she was showing us all the photography, like the covers that she did of, Figaro Madame, I guess it is, maybe.
Okay.
And Elle and Vogue, and then I said, maybe she never took those pictures. Maybe she just took the pictures of the covers. Maybe it's not her photography. Maybe it's just photographs of other people's photographs.
That's funny. But we are not sure about anything anymore.
We don't know. But she said she took them.
But is there some...
She was just sitting next to us and we were joking with her. And then later I said, I wonder if she took those photos for the cover of Vogue. Or if she just took a picture of the cover of Vogue and put it on her Instagram.
Yeah, why not?
It's a good idea.
But when do you know that the painting is finished?
When anything you do, any move that you make will just possibly destroy the painting. If you say, I cannot make a single move on this painting, I can't make another move, I might have changed them 1,000 times. And sometimes they're painted very quickly, sometimes painted very slowly over long periods.
Sometimes you make sleep the canvas in a way for 1 or 2 years before taking it back?
No. I mean, paintings can happen in 45 minutes, and they can happen in 4 to 6 weeks. It depends on the paint. The paint dries slowly. You have to wait.
But you don't put on the side some paintings?
Yeah, I put it on the side and I work on another one.
And you take it back?
And then when it's dry enough, I go back and I work on top.
Okay. But you don't never make sleep a painting like for 2 or 3 years?
No.
Everything is quite organized in a way?
I really try to paint them all in one go. I think about, Jack Kerouac as a writer. He just wanted to write in one go the whole book and without making revisions. And there's a whole room of these kind of paintings, those expanding canvases, where I made no revisions. I just painted it.
It's a bit further?
Yeah, it's further down.
Shall we go?
Yeah, let's go.
Merci.
So here you see that in this area we have all the sketchbooks.
But each painting is not with a drawing before.
Well, for example, this one, this is a variation on one of them.
Yes.
There is a painting of this one. Some of them there are, like for example, this one. Here's a study for the one of the sort of Renaissance woman.
But
It looks like a body
is
shop.
it always like that? Do you make studies?
I do the drawings after the paintings usually. The funny thing is if I do the painting, if it doesn't look quite right and I need to figure out something like the position of a foot or the position of a leg or a study of a hand, then I go back to the drawing board, as we say, and I start to draw what it is that I'm really, what I have to do to correct the painting. But for example, here...
This is a beautiful room, huh?
Thank you.
And the blue is great.
So here's my very first drawing. So this one was made when I was about 3.5, 4 years old. I have a crucifixion. I was in church and I saw this and I said, my mother kept them.
Wow, your mother was a great supporter.
Yeah, she kept this one. She kept the ones of the dinosaurs that I made. My grandfather was a doctor, so I used to draw in his office. He was Italian, and he said, he's going to be like...
Where was your childhood?
In Massachusetts.
Where?
In Chelmsford, Chelmsford, Massachusetts, a little town with cows,
Okay.
apple trees, cows, and a lot of fishing.
So the only art was Jesus.
Yeah, this was from just coming back one day and, like for example here, you can, not this one of them, these were all the ones that I did when I was about 6 or 7. And these are later, of course. This is from 79.
But why
But
did
there's
you
a study-
decide?
but
Why
here's
did?
a study of the puppeteer. You see, this was just studying the idea that he had the strings and
Why did you decide to show your work from where you were 3 or 5?
I never showed it, it was just drawings that I used to love to make art. This was before I knew the art world, before I even knew there was an art world. I didn't know because I was a kid.
Yes.
And these, of course, I knew there was an art world by the time I was making these. And this I exhibited in London.
And what does it speak about?
This is called what's the name of this one? It's something about the discarded human. It speaks about the idea of sort of just being discarded as a person, and the idea that like people are discriminated against, and the discrimination against women or the discrimination against different races and racial discrimination is a very, you have to be very empathetic about it because I as a painter, we don't think like politicians. We have every color is equal. It's how you mix them that makes the painting beautiful. And if the politicians would realize like yellow, green, brown, black, white, purple, blue, all of these colors are equal. It's how you use them that makes them into a composition of humanity. Okay, so if you think about it from that perspective, you realize that, politicians could make a beautiful world, but they don't. They separate them.
But also
These colors cannot be used here. These colors cannot be used there.
But not only politicians, human beings too,
Yeah,
no?
human beings are like that as well.
But this is the colors of Picasso very much, no? From the 30s?
Yeah, sort of something like that, but I thought it doesn't need much color to, like, yeah. Well,
But she's sexy also, huh?
yeah, I hope so. And these you see I'm working on, put some stones here, a little stone here, crystals, diamonds, cold, I want cool colors. Here I'm thinking like, make a large drawing of this. So this I made a large drawing of, and that's a larger drawing of a smaller study. And
This is a clergyman.
yeah, and this is a process of work, and some of these drawings about the process, and some of them are just simply finished. Like this is a study for a painting called Conspiracy, and which I made, the painting. So these are all, and I made the paintings of these characters. This one is in the front room. It's one of the first paintings. It's a study for Symphony No. 1.
You listen to music when you are painting?
I like to listen to music while I'm painting. And
What kind of music?
I love jazz. I love Hendrix. I fell in love with Hendrix when I was in the 70s, okay? I first heard him. I was too young for Woodstock, so I never got to go. My parents, no, you're not going. And so, you're not going there. It wasn't so far from where I grew up, but they wouldn't let us. So these drawings here from the Morgan Library, they lent these 2 drawings. And so for example, they lent this one. So for example, this is just my hand, I'm left-handed, so I'm drawing by right hand. I'm just studying them for when I have to make paintings, where I need a lot of hands. But these are this one is from 1975.
Wow, this is incredible.
So, and this one's from 1976. So I was still living at home in my parents' house. This was before I went to,
And so
I went to college.
your parents were supportive?
They were supportive. They were just saying, what do you want to do? What are you going to do in life? And I said, I don't know. And my father, of course, he was a professor. He said, you love art. You love to look at things. Maybe you should become an ophthalmologist. So we went after high school during college into Boston to Tufts University for ophthalmology and for something, because his father was a doctor. So he thought, I would be a doctor. I said, well, why? I don't want to be a doctor. And I was also studying classical music. So I said, why don't I go to the college where you teach? And then they have a music department and an art department. So I will study music theory because I want to understand how Beethoven wrote his string quartets. I want to understand how Bach's compositions came together. And this information will be very helpful for my painting. And so then I took art history just to learn about Caravaggio.
Where?
At the University of Massachusetts.
Okay.
In Lowell, and which was a town next to us. So I didn't get a chance to live like a college student in the dormitory. I had to live at home. So it wasn't a good experience. So I did 2 years, and I said, that's enough. And so the thing about it is that you could take the information you learned about music and apply it to art. So what I listen to, this is what I'm saying, is like when I'm listening to the music of, say, Beethoven's string quartets, late quartets, or some of his piano music, I can understand the chord transitions. And these transitions between major and minor keys, that's the kind of, in painting, would be the dark and light side.
And so it has an influence on your paintings?
Yeah, so it's a big influence on my painting, and also tempo is very important in music, because if you're thinking about, say, the violin partitas and sonatas, some of the sarabands are very slow, but everything has to be perfect. And a jig is extremely fast, but you can't miss any notes. And so, when you watch a virtuoso, they're playing so fast sometimes, and then sometimes they're playing very slow, lentissimo. And so you think like...
But it depends on the period, the style of music?
It depends on the paintings.
The paintings.
It depends on the paintings. So some paintings are done very quickly, but without mistakes, like the same way a musician would have to play that violin or that piano. And some paintings are made very slowly. And some of the ones that are made slowly look like they took,
quiet.
A long time, or there was you'll see in the portrait room, I'll show you a couple of paintings.
Yes.
Like drawings like these, we have 3 drawings. These are the politician drawings, okay? Like each one probably took me 15 minutes.
And what do you think of Guston?
Of who?
Philippe Guston.
I love Guston. And he was a big influence on me in terms of...
This is the same guy.
There's a video. This was my studio at the Trommelbourg. So there you see that big composition before I put all the collage on it.
Okay.
And these are pictures of me in Paris. That was me at Rue de Condo, where beneath me lived Felix Guattari. And so Felix and I became very close friends. And Felix, we talked a lot about philosophical ideas. And so that's the drawing that I was showing you that does a study of this painting. This is Boulevard de la Trommelbourg.
Well, but this is very chic, huh?
It was a very chic place.
And this is...
This painting, I don't know what happened to it. I think I put paper all over the form. This was some guy that had, he had some TV show. And these are like the Matisse cutouts for me. We're here in the portrait gallery. A painting like this, I did a lot of drawings after, and then I made the whole painting in one go.
And does it speak about a special subject?
It's called The Smiling Sea Captain. So his harpoon kind of went through him, and he has this carrot, and this is sort of, when they always use that expression, they're dangling a carrot in front of you.
But is it about politics?
No.
It's
not really. The paintings can emit certain, messages that I'm not aware of.
Okay, so the message is not always clear.
No.
For example, here with the light.
I think, for example, this one, of the woman, I did her and I painted her all in. And then my kids were young, and they said, "What color are you going to make the background?" I said, "I'm not sure." And one of them said, "I think it should be green," and the other one said, "I think it should be purple." And I said, "I don't know." So I did a kind of pinkish gray. I said, "It has to be harmonic with the painting."
And it made me think about Modigliani with the two different eyes.
Yes, but it makes it different than just a straight portrait.
Yes.
Something more unique. And I think between this one was very Degas inspired, but I think these two paintings, if you look at them from here, these two paintings look like she must have had a nervous breakdown of the two of them. But this one is called The Letter, and we don't know what is really in that letter.
Like Vermeer.
Exactly. That was what I thought about, was looking at Vermeer's painting of The Letter. And I thought, you don't know what she's reading. And I thought, nobody knows what's in that letter, but whatever it is.
It's a bad news, obviously.
This was the expression that came from it.
This one has a special arms, which looks like legs.
Yeah, very long.
I've never seen this kind of painting from you.
This is what's nice about having a big retrospective, is that you can show paintings that people have never seen a certain kind of work.
And this series?
This series is called the Drawing Paintings, where I decided that there was really no reason that drawing and painting shouldn't be considered equal.
Uh-huh.
That there was this idea that the drawing is less important than the painting. That really, when it comes to the canvas, so I thought I'll combine the painting and drawing together. So these are drawing paintings. So you can see all this. It's why it's glaze. This is old pastel and charcoal, and sometimes, and then some paint. So there's paint and drawing combined. And these are compressions. These are called compressions. They're kind of like, if you think about the John Chamberlain sculptures.
Ah, yes.
I wanted to compress the figures like that and put them all to
So how is Guston influential in your work? Mm-hmm. Guston,
very influential in the way to lay patches of color. Like I love his late works a lot, but I also love the what would they call the beautiful painted ones, lyrical abstraction. I love that period of Guston. And so a lot of the direction of the brushstrokes, how these patches of color work, I got that from Guston.
And he also works with this idea of grotesque, right?
He did, yeah, with Nixon.
Ku Klux Klan.
The Nixon paintings, and some of the figures were really pretty horrifying,
And was that influential on
But
you?
the thing about it is that the more horrifying they were, the more funny they were. And so sometimes some of the things, like when you look at, say, for me, I don't know if everybody else does this, but when I look at a painting that's really great, even if it's a painting of Rembrandt of a crucifixion, I laugh out of happiness that the painting is so good. I don't laugh at the subject, but I laugh at, wow, how great this painting is. It makes me smile.
Happy.
Yeah. And even if it's a terrible moment, there's one painting at the...
But how do you want people to react to your
I
paintings?
want them to have a smile on their face and laugh and think, who would think of this? Who would imagine doing a painting like this or a sculpture like that?
This is about crowds also, no?
They're really like about a multitude of figures, drawing and painting combined.
In your brain?
Yeah.
This is a radiography of your brain?
This is what this is just taking images that you have in your head and transposing them onto the canvas.
But your head is crowded.
Very crowded sometimes.
It's
Sometimes not
too
so
noisy.
but there it's not so crowded, you know.
Yeah, true.
You know, it depends on the paintings. You know, these can be.
But this make me think about Coltrane, for example.
This is a very, you know, congested.
What music
Figures.
can match with that?
What's that?
What is the music which can match with
This
that?
would be sort of like a very intricate string quartet, maybe something like Schoenberg string quartet or Alban Berg, you know, something atonal.
Not jazz, though.
Not
Jazz.
No, jazz.
Not free jazz.
Jazz is more related to these kind of paintings. These are more like late Miles Davis or something like that.
Tutu.
Yeah, you know, or On the Corner, or Bitches Brew, these kind of albums. And I like the one he did called In a Silent Way. It's a beautiful album. It's late in his career. Not late, you know.
And he was a bit grotesque because he was playing, I saw him, he was playing like that, showing his backside.
Yeah. I mean, he played like this way and he was standing there. He turned around. I met him and I talked to him about paintings and I told him I did a big one dedicated to him.
Which is here?
It's in the other room. It's called Dancing to Miles.
Wow.
And I showed it to him in the book when I met him. I had my assistant run to my apartment and I said, I got to show Miles Davis the painting I did called Dancing to Miles.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so he got to see it, and he said, and there was another one called The Chief, and he said, that's what they call me, the Chief.
So he had a big ego. Wow.
So see, these are the expanding canvases. These are the ones that are the Kerouac-like paintings that I was talking about, where you start from one place, and that's the one called Dancing to Miles.
The big one?
Yeah.
That's super. Wow, very impressive. It looks like George Gross painting. It's a German.
Yeah, it feels like, you know, they're sort of like, almost like Jackson Pollock-y, like.
Exactly, the early Pollock.
Yeah, but then you see that it's not Pollock because everything is a figure. Everything is a kind of a thing. Where Pollock is just brush strokes and you are completely, it's a subjective experience.
There's a bit of Dubuffet also, from the desert period. Wow. Bon, merci beaucoup, monsieur.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Very nice of you to
Thank you. And then
given all this
the
time.
last room, you'll see after this, you see monochromatic compositions. These ones I think are really cool. These are more jazzy, and these are the blues paintings. This was during the pandemic, when everybody had the blues, and this blues and one tone. I like blues, and this is another blues painting. This is blues in C-sharp minor.
I want to listen to jazz now because of you.
You have to start to listen to some of those great musicians.
I listen to them.
Yeah, there is an album by Jimi Hendrix that's called Blues, and it was outtakes, you know, after he died, but all the work he did in his studio. And so these are very related to that album, Blues by Jimi Hendrix.
Okay, I will listen.
Yeah.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay, thank you.